All right, welcome back, y'all. We've got just a whole lineup tonight. I'm not going to keep y'all waiting too long. We've got Chaos Wolf running Hedon, Crystal Heart 80%. Chaos, take it away.
Hello, everybody. I am Chaos Wolf, or just Wolf, and this is Hedon. I have with me the my co-commentator. If you would like to introduce yourself.
Hey everyone, I'm Hedon Dev. I am basically the guy who made the game. Now, for those of you who don't know, Hedon, the retro FPS that actually built on a source port of the original. So, if there are any OG Doom speedrun enthusiasts among you, you will definitely similarities. But of course, Hedon does bring it. We are going to.
Okay, I'm going to go New Game, select Crystal Heart. Difficulty and timing will begin when I hit yes here, and 3, 2, 1, go. First off, most important item is our axe here. We're going to kill this enemy. He drops a weapon. There's another pickup right there. That's the only two that exist in the entire episode, for the speedrun anyway. I'm going to save. Let's call it something appropriate. So this is our first sequence break.
Right, nice. Yeah, he basically has to throw one proximity mine on top of another in a rocket jump. Very tricky.
So this section right here looks a bit trippy just because we're kind of in a dream sequence right now. It serves as the game's prologue. And we're just reliving a battle that took place not too long ago. And we just head through there, and that's it for the first section of this level.
Yep, Hedon is a pretty story-heavy game. I will try to complement Chaos Combat, but of course, keeping over.
Yeah. And we wake up seriously injured here in this cave, and we're going to find this spot on the wall.
Yes, so Hedon does have a couple of developer intentional speedrun breaks of the game. This one basically gives crystals that allow you to training level essentially.
So I'm going to recover my axe now, and as I mentioned earlier, this is our main source of speed tech. Basically, whenever you use the alt fire and toss the axe, it throws you forward a little bit. And when you jump in the air, you overcome the ground resistance, and chained together becomes this very rhythmic style of play, which I absolutely love about running this game. We'll kick slide in these low ceiling areas. And you never at any point do you want to lose this axe.
Yeah, the axe jumping is like critical.
There are replacements, but they're few and far in between. I'm gonna grab that healing, and this is the end of the first level.
Yep, there we go. We're coming up on the plaza, which is like basically the hometown of your protagonist. So yeah, as you have noticed, you do play as a half-orc, half-demon, sort of Amazonian warrior, and you're essentially trying to save your hometown from a cultist invasion. And this is actually the first level where you have to deal with puzzles, but of course Wolf will be skipping a few of those.
It's basically kind of like a crafting system. You collect some things and make something, and that allows you to progress. But we know some skips to get around that. So I'm going to head into this area, turn on these two switches, bust through that wall.
Yeah, another thing about Hedon is that oftentimes it has branching paths, so it's always interesting to see how speedrunners optimize their run, because it's sort of like trying to solve a Rubik's cube of like possibilities.
Yeah, moving through the water is the same as like a low ceiling area. You just touch the bottom and kick slide through. And here coming up is what I call the pain chain, because
It's an old engine, guys. Come on, give it some slack. But hey, you did it first time.
Yeah, it can very easily cause you to slip off, and you're just barely even touching your mouse. Well, that guy let me through and stepped out of the way. What a gentleman. So what I'm doing is a kind of a new strat that we're doing now. We used to jump on a guy's head and sequence break, but now we're instead grabbing these scrolls. I'm gonna do a quick safety save just in case. And there we go, easy. So we just did a little bit of sequence breaking and grabbed the key, and now we're going back down and head to a combat sequence. I'm gonna grab some extra ammo in here. Normally this is blocked off.
I guess you got lucky this time. You still have to go through this arena sequence though, so there's no skipping this one.
So the frag fire cannon, my favorite weapon in the game, is two firing modes. First is like a shotgun, and second is a flamethrower. Very effective against these low-level cultists, but the Cerberus are very fire-resistant, so we have to use the primary.
Demons in general are resistant to fire. It pays off to know which resistances the monsters have.
And this second gate up here is still on a timer, so I just placed all those worms with the spike rifle. Once this gets about halfway, I do a time stop. One of the artifacts you can, or power-ups you can get. You don't ever want to throw your axe whenever the time is stopped, because anything that leaves Zan's hand will also be stopped.
And there we go. That's the second map.
The barracks it's probably the hardest trick in the whole speed run, involving some rocket jumps. And okay, unfortunate. So we could have skipped going around there with one of the magma scrolls that I just used, but I didn't quite get it. And I've got to save the last one for the trick. So we're gonna lower that elevator, go back through and clear out some enemies, because we're gonna come back through here very shortly. And there's nothing else to do, so we just waste these guys. Eventually, though, we'll reach the bottom. And just for safety, I normally don't grab these, but I'm gonna pick those extra vials of healing. I'm gonna head in here for our crush bow, which is like this game's rocket launcher. Quick save. There we go.
Oh, nice. First try. Yeah, it's really difficult to chain. You basically have to use one of the magma ball scrolls and then shoot a crush bow at the wall. So you have to be very precise to pull it off.
All right, we just got another thing to turn on, and then we can head through the gate for another combat sequence. This combat sequence is a bit different from the previous one. There's certain enemies that we can focus on to speed it up. So first I'm going to aim for these two warlocks. And then we're going to focus on the guys in the black robes. They're called initiates.
Of course, the crush bow is amazing at taking them out quickly. And that's basically what you want to do here. You want to take them as quickly as you can.
one guy over here. That all of them. There we go. I can tell what kind of pace I'm on based on the music. That was very, very optimal. Based on the music, that was like world record speed right there. We just followed this along. It's basically like the bath area, the bathhouse, and then we'll come along to this boiler. And then off to technical space.
Nice.
And this is where we'll actually have to do the required crafting in order to progress. We've got to head down to a mine area and collect some mithril ore and an iron bar. Oh, I still get hit. So I'm repairing this door, and because we're vulnerable as we do that, I just do another time stop. First row to take out that group. Okay, a lot of survivors.
This is one of like the most difficult platforming sections of the game.
So grab our pickaxe. Oh, there we go. Now, I don't like to use the axe throwing in here because there's so many things that can get caught on. I just don't find that it's worth it.
So yeah, basically now we have to gather like 5 lumps of mithril ore from this place, and we'll have to craft a particular item.
So that was... There's another ore piece right there, and then we'll... Oh, I'm just facing the wrong direction. Wow. I
That's a bit
stopped the
unfortunate.
door. Okay. I was confused for a moment. So we got one more to collect. Don't lose that axe. Don't ever lose that axe. Oh my gosh, that was dumb of me. Okay. Emergency healing. Grab that. 64, we're doing okay.
Yeah, much like in the original Doom, if you time your walking well, you can actually go into lava without taking damage. That didn't change at all in Hedon.
So we put the iron bar in, and it eventually spits out an iron key. We'll drop in our ore, smelt that down, and then we'll head back, use the iron key to collect the earth key. Grab the bar, and then we head in here for the blacksmithing plans and the mold. So that was the gear mold. It's gonna smelt it down into this like briefcase looking thing, and we'll take it over to the workbench, and we'll craft this mithril gear that we're gonna use for the next level. Okay. Now, because we gotta wait for that to blow up and then the screen to fade out, I gotta dodge these projectiles, and we got a Cerberus that's wants to munch on me. Okay, hold them in complete darkness. The Grove is basically starts off. This is Plaza, but now we're going this way. And
You're essentially going back.
Yep.
So far, our protagonist is essentially trying to reach the survivors of her forces. And she's trying to like boot up a portal.
So I just grabbed an Amulet of Shadows. Using that, we go like 30% faster, and we become partially invisible. And also worth noting, this track is by Alexander Brandon, the composer for Unreal, the game, not the engine, and Deus Ex. So
Yeah, it's an amazing soundtrack. And it's a great soundtrack for the tonal shift of the game at this point, because it's, you know, our protagonist is finally getting the upper hand on the enemy invasion. And she's getting closer to her goal.
You probably noticed I don't like to use my axe in here because there's a lot of stairs and a lot of things for it to get caught on. So we move plenty fast with the amulets, so not a big issue. Right about in here, I time stomp again once we see the row of shield maidens. They're there to block you on purpose.
Yep, there's no stopping speedrunners though. I really try, but yeah.
And this is new. We just started doing this today. We go in there and grab that other amulet of shadows, and we're gonna save it for another level later on. So through this switch, and we have another combat section. This is the last one that we do for the speed run. This enemy right here that I just shot, they're called the Forge Elemental. They're basically like a combination between a Pain Elemental and a Cacodemon. So they spawn enemies and also shoot big fireballs. So I
Right,
put down
so this particular arena segment has 3 spawn points that you want to camp essentially. However, that won't make it go any quicker, so... So yeah, basically you're just trying to defend the portal while it's being charged.
For these segments, is there like a way to get out of bounds and skip them, or is it just entirely trigger based on how many enemies die?
when,
Yeah,
it comes
trigger-based.
when it comes to out of bounds, GZ Doom is very, very solid. It's hard to get out of bounds. But our exit is right here, so we're pretty much locked into this until it expires and we can leave. Because we're waiting for this thing to power up.
The bane of speedrunners, unskippable auto-scrollers.
It's fortunately the last combat sequence in the run. And then it's just running and gunning from there on out.
You can actually use the music to figure out when it's going to end. When it's about to end, rather, because you'll start getting swarmed.
Eventually, it'll spawn nothing but the more basic build. In fact, I think it's starting. Yeah. So I ready up, stand right about here. It tries to overwhelm us with these basic cultists. Eventually, the screen will shake and everything dies. Sends out a shockwave, but we're immune to it because of our crystal amulets, which basically serves as like armor. So
Yeah, so essentially activating the portal sort of like detonates an energy charge. But because our protagonist is in tune with the crystal technology and she's got like a protection amulet, it spares her. So right now we're coming up on a level which is a bit more different. It's like more of a spooky / walking sim type of level, which was intended like a break to mark the beginning of the second half of the game. But because I don't want speedrunners to go through that, I did leave an intentional developer skip, which will take us straight to the boss fight. So Wolf has to hit these textures, clip into the wall here, grab a key, and reactivate the portal, basically.
this is where we'll get introduced to the game's main antagonists. And
Yes,
because
normally the game would explain what's up with her, but
That's
So
really
this-
cool that you put that in for speedrunners. It's just something so small that like helps the replayability a ton.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So yeah, you're essentially having a mind battle with her because she's like an elven sorceress that's very well versed in the mind magic arts. Now, normally this boss battle would take a lot of time, but speedrunners usually nuke her. Yeah, they nuke her with the axe and a potion of might, which increases her damage significantly.
There we go.
So yeah, some of the bosses in Hedon are like pathetic when done by speedrunners.
This is the dream sequence, so everything we pick up doesn't matter. So I just like to find all the axes and set them free. So Nithrio escapes through that crack in the sky. And we just sit here jam out until eventually the teleporter comes up.
Right, so the teleporter takes us out in the real world this time, and we're actually on the outside because most of Hedon takes place underground. It's like mostly an underground world. But this, I believe this is Chaos's favorite level.
Optimally, you want to take 3 shots to get up to the top, but I was having some trouble. Yeah. Another Alexander Brandon track here that plays. I could launch myself up to the top there, but it wouldn't matter because that door will not open until the platform reaches the top. So instead, we just enjoy the music as we admire the view.
Yeah, actually, back when I was painting these, because Hedon is a basically hand-draw game, I was thinking about having this sort of like vista that speedrunners couldn't skip, so I had to force them to watch through. And of course, this outpost doesn't seem to have been spared of the cultist invasion. So we're back to beating up the baddies.
Oops.
Right, that's a button switch, so Wolf just shot at it rather than go flip it. I had this sort of like rule when I was developing the game in which if a switch had a lever, you'd have to go grab it, like press E on it. But if it had a button, I figured that you might as well be able to shoot it from afar. So this particular thing is very handy right here.
Ah.
That was a close shave. That Cerberus was on you there. So what Wolf is trying to do here is, or rather the protagonist, she's trying to activate a crystal-based magic ward which will prevent the cultists from being able to teleport around. It's sort of like a defensive super weapon, which will be useful for speedrunning because there's less chance to be body blocked.
So with those rocket jumps that I'm doing, like how I got up all the way up there in one shot, they function a little bit different. Whenever you, instead of boosting off of the ground, if you have some kind of elevation below you, you can actually get way more height. So that's what I did there. Was instead of aiming directly at my feet, I aimed at the ground beneath me.
This room is pretty tricky. It's very easy to get cornered into, but I see Wolf has been doing it great. And there we go, he activated the ward. Let's get out of here. And we're coming up on the second level that's going to happen outside of the caves. This one's gonna be a snowy one.
And this is where I'll use the amulet shadows that I've been holding on to. I'm used to doing it without this, but today we found that other amulet in the secret area. So I was practicing this route off stream.
Yeah, so this level basically has a bridge here that you need to fix by finding some materials, but you can easily skip over it if you're a speedrunner. Also more or less intentionally left in by me.
And right there we're getting a choker the beast. Would you like to explain what that does?
Yeah, so Hedon has a bunch of consumables, as you might have noticed, and the Joker of the Beast essentially shrouds you in an aura of fear, which essentially causes enemies to run away from you. And it also gives you a life drain effect, so it's very handy for speedrunning, because it removes the chance of getting body blocked or ambushed by the enemies. Okay, so Wolf made it into the fort. He now has to craft a lever in order to open the main gates of the Barbican and grab a key in there. So here's where he crafts the lever. Now, unfortunately, sometimes monsters can sneak in here, and the player is immobile while performing the crafting sequence, I guess.
It happened in my world record run too. A warlock came in here and nearly killed me. So that's why I quick saved. Now we can finally get inside the fort here. I'm taking her out. She's too much of a threat. Okay. Down here in the tavern, we see the dwarves' water supply has been poisoned. And most of them have died off from it.
Yeah, there's
And
this
we
like
have-
weird alien-like corruption that's claiming certain bits of the game.
There's
You
one
noticed it
dwarf
back at the
left
portal?
alive. And unfortunately, we gotta kill him and take his key, because it's the fastest way to do it. And watch chat spam D:.
Yeah, Hedon does occasionally allow you to choose certain things. You can normally save that dwarf, but you have to go for a detour. So obviously for speedrunning purposes, we won't be doing that.
Bit of a wait as this goes down here. But we can use that time to talk about the next area and its purpose and the NPC that we're looking out for.
Yeah, we're basically coming up on... we're basically gating back inside the underground, inside our stronghold, and we're going to be having some sort of like more moody / spooky level, which won't have a lot of combat in the first part, but it's nonetheless still a bit challenging to speedrun.
Right, so wake up from that, and this area is a bit kind of creepy. Not a whole lot of fighting going on. First thing we're doing is we're gonna hoard the steal from this alchemy hoard this jar of acid, which is very strong. It's like xenomorph blood. It just eats this right up. Let me get through here and grab that key. Real quick, I'm gonna show off our protagonist. There she is.
Very thick. Yeah, so there's no enemies around here, but Wolf will have to deal with some blisters, which act like proximity mines. They can be very painful for speedrunners, but once you know where they are, you can get rid of them easily. And oh my god, there's cultists imprisoned here. Something's gone terribly wrong.
We feed this doggo. He gets really excited and kicks the key for us so we can pick it up.
Yeah, fun fact, that dog actually becomes friendly after you do this. Not a whole lot of people realize this. And oh no.
But if you can hear me hitting her, I could clearly take her. But no. This is scripted.
So yeah, this encounter is with one of the traders. Zan is part of this like Amazonian faction of orcs and goblins. And as I mentioned before, the big bad lady that you're fighting is a master of the mind. And she did manage to mind control one of your sisters. Who's like trying to turn you into one of her experiments right now. Yes, Hedon is pretty story heavy. Obviously, when speedrunning, we're not gonna see a lot of the characters that get introduced or the story elements. But I guess this sequence here is kind of unskippable.
Yeah. And this is where Abioth, or we just call her Abby for short. She's, as Hedon Dead would describe, kind of like this game's G-Man.
Yes, there's this shadowy creature that maybe some of you have caught sight of her during the speedrun, but normally you don't really have time to watch the nooks and crannies where she pops up.
And there's another character, a goblin actually, named Tiati, who's about to set us free.
Yes, so much like in Doom, or rather Doom 3, Zan is usually behind the main action, like she's trying to catch up with her sisters. And this time around she gets saved by one of them.
And we're free of the grape soda. Now we can go and collect this key.
Now chaos is going to ensue. We are getting introduced to one of Hedon's most annoying enemies, which is like the latex assassins.
Come on.
However, they are pretty fragile, and another thing that speedrunners should appreciate about them is that every time you move towards them, they roll away, so less chance to get body blocked, I guess. We're just waiting for the door to power up. So yeah, the cultists have broken free from the prisons and now we're fighting these assassins, but we don't have time for that. We're just gonna zoom through. And there you go. We're coming up on the final level of Crystal Heart, which is also the largest one. So this one's basically split in like 3 parts. The first one is sort of like the religious center of the stronghold, which is like a huge elemental temple. So appropriately, there are 4 primary elemental wings that you have to solve puzzles in order to go through.
So here's the Earth Shrine. I went right over it. Okay. Made sure to get the figurine this time. I missed it one time in practice.
Yeah, Wolf is now using an elemental ring, which is why you're hearing that buzzing sound. The elemental ring obviously protects you from lava, gas, all that stuff. So now he has to grab 4 elemental figurines and 4 elemental fragments in order to open a gate.
Alright, now I'm going to use my Potion of Might. There's another one right here. Potion of Might also has a regeneration effect, so I'm going to make sure I stay alive.
So as Wolf will go through this place, it will gradually get more populated by monsters. So every time he passes through, it's going to get even trickier to go to the next area.
We throw down the fire figurine right there to melt the ice, the earth figurine right there to raise up the platforms in the air temple. And coming up here is my one contribution to this speedrun. I was the one who figured out that we could just shoot these. And it saved us about 20 seconds of swimming around, and then later applied to the other switches that you can shoot.
Yep, they are button switches, so you can shoot them.
And now we'll head back
Now
to
this
the
place
air
is gonna
temple.
be really tricky.
Tricky platforming, so I'm gonna save right there.
Yeah, much like in classic Doom, you can just sprint over platforms and sort of like not have to jump individually over them. But still, that requires a lot of precision here. Ooh, there we go, first try, nice.
Right, this is the last figurine that we collected. Nope. Oh. So we're gonna go back to the fire shrine or fire temple. Put that figurine down to extinguish the flames that are in the Earth Temple, so we retrieve the fragment there. And then we'll take all of the fragments that we collected back to the central area. Where are they coming from? They just keep... they keep getting in front of me.
Yeah, that's Doom AI for you. Never know when you get body blocked. And there we go, just have to put the fragments in place, use the time stop.
So we have to wait until that hits the door and opens up. And there's so many enemies that have gathered around, it's best to just time stop. And right here, very important. You hear that laugh? Hang out right here. Wait for that big demon to pass. There's a scripted event that will heal you instantly if you move forward too fast.
Yeah, there's basically two of Zan's orcish sisters trying to hold that bridge, and once the demon gets close, he sort of like performs a huge AoE attack.
Oops. Not only does it shake the screen, it also shakes your character, so it can be kind of difficult to get in there, getting around in there. So
Yeah,
here's
so
the
this
Cry basically like the game's BFG.
Yeah, pretty much Hedon's BFG. And we finally came up on our sisters who are holding the line here. Normally you could recruit a few of them to help you, but I don't think Wolf needs that. We're just waiting for a door to open right now.
Okay, chat. I don't have chat open, but when I review the VOD, I want to see your best jam emotes for this next song. Is we're gonna sprint to the end to face off against the final boss, and this song is really hype. I'm gonna collect this key.
Yeah, this is basically a remix of Alexander Brandon's Underworld track done by Shivaxi and Xenofish. It's very appropriate for this final stretch. The funny thing is that speedrunners make it so fast that you can barely get past the intro of the song, so...
It's not yet. It's still building up. It goes to this section where kind of a lull in the song, and then it really kicks off.
And this is the Crystal Heart, which is like the final place of the level. We've been racing for it. It's like the technological center of the crystal tech, because as you've noticed, some of the weapons we're using employ some essentially magic technological crystals. And this here is the crystal disc, or as we call it, the cyber donut. And of course, Nithriel is after it, because it turns out that she needs it in order to, let's say, go back home. I don't want to spoil this.
Yeah. We'll have to play through the second episode, Blood Right, to find out. So at this point, all the power-ups that we've been holding on to, we're going to use them all and face off against this guy. The big demon that we saw on the bridge. The one I warned about killing you instantly.
Yes, once again, speedrunners can make very short work of the enemy bosses, which are normally quite difficult to take out. Add-on boss fights can be quite grindy.
Yeah, and just hold mouse one until you win.
Yeah, he's all buffed up now.
Only thing we really need to watch out is the... wow, I am peeking really bad. I apologize. You're just gotta watch out for the green gas.
And there we go.
Now, time will be, there's going to be another cutscene and then one final input, and that'll be time.
But alas, no matter how much they try, speedrunners can't outrun an Ethereal from stealing the disc, so guess we'll still have to play the second game sometime. And there we go.
And time.
Nice.
So that was Hedon Crystal Heart. The second episode, Blood Right, is significantly longer, both casually and in the speedrun. That's for another time, possibly. I would like to thank GDQ for having me showcase this game. I want to give a shout out to the few of us that run this game. Scuddy, who has found most of the speed tech, and Daniel Rue. And of course, would like to thank you, Zan, for co-commentating for me and making this great game. I believe everybody should check it out if they're a fan of retro shooters and want a little more story and a little more interactivity. And I have a guide on my YouTube if you would like to learn this game. We don't have a speedrun Discord because of the community is just so small, but maybe someday. But yeah, if you would like to follow me on Twitch, it's twitch.tv/chaos_wolf, where I do speedruns, randomizers, and occasionally say something funny. That's it for me. If you have any final words.
Yeah, sure. Well, obviously, I'd like to thank GDQ and all of you guys who are tuning in for the stream. And of course, the people who speedrun Hedon. And yeah, if you guys want to check it out, you can find it on Steam and GOG. So, that aside, thanks for watching, everyone. I guess I'll see you some other time.
Yeah, thank you for coming on and doing it. And a couple quick announcements before we go to a break. Subs and Prime Gaming subs and gift subs help with supporting Hotfix content. So if you enjoy this and you want to see more of it, please consider subscribing. And if you missed the Hedon run, if you missed the Quake run or the Quake Done Quickest showcase earlier, or the randomizer right before this, check us out on youtube.com/gamesdonequick. And if you're watching this on YouTube, check us out live weeknights at 7 p.m. Eastern and weekends at 1 p.m. Eastern. I promise I can read. I'm very good at it. We're going to a quick break, and then we'll be right back with the final runner of the night, Zello, doing Doom. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.